Hey you guys, it's Frank the Tank, and welcome to week number 15 of League. Just a couple things to update you on before we get this thing started. Um, I have confirmation now after being kind of unsure last week, but yeah, I can confirm that this league is indeed coming to an end. Uh, all I have left now are this week of league, and then week number 16, and then that is the end of it. And then after that, uh, I'm honestly not sure. I already have plans to sign up for the summer league that will be on. It'll be beginning on the 27th of May. Yeah, I already have my plan to do that. The part that I don't know is whether I want to film that or not. I'm really honestly going to leave that one up to you guys. Pretty soon after this, I'll be putting up a community post. And basically, it'll be a voting poll to see whether you guys want me to continue, or should I say, start a new series. It'll be the exact same thing like this. Basically, yeah, filming my progress through the summer league, and yeah, I'll be having you guys decide on whether you guys want to see that or not. Um, Another thing, I guess, and this one's not really all that important, but another thing you should know of is throughout the week I've been uh, correcting some things on my approach, particularly my third and fourth step. I've been working on correcting that. So I'll show you the changes that I'm trying to implement into my approach. You'll be seeing it here. But and then another thing I've been trying to work on is my swing, I guess. Again, I don't want to get into detail right now because I want to get into this as quickly as possible. So I'll be showing you that as well. And can't really think of anything else, but I feel like I'm forgetting something. But anyway, now that that is done, I guess now we can go with move on to what I packed for this week. So let's get this thing going. Okay, guys, so here we go, starting from the bottom. First ball that I packed was the Hustle Wrap. Haven't picked up this ball in a while, but yeah, finally decided to put it back in the bag for this week of League. Um, Truthfully, the reason I haven't picked it up in quite some time is because I wanted to give it a break, and also because obviously you guys know I have a lot of other stuff that I can try, so I wanted to give my other stuff a chance. Uh, yeah, I don't want I wouldn't want these bowling balls to deteriorate too quickly, and I feel the only way to keep them lasting longer, apart from caring for them properly, is to alternate between bowling balls each week, use something different every week. Yeah. Anyway, that is ball number one, the Hustle Wrap, and then ball number two. I decided on the Nuclear Cell. Welcome that ball back into the bag again too. Um, Again, I felt like this isn't kind of an important week because obviously it's position round. Even though we're clearly out of the running to try to win this league, we're like in sixth place. So there's clearly no chance, especially after I looked at the points for the top three teams. It's too far gone. But, I figured, still, I felt like it was still necessary to treat it like an important week. So I brought my overpowered class. And part of that overpowered class is the Nuclear Cell and the Hustle Wrap. So that is ball number two that I brought. And then ball number three, I decided that I would also bring back the Flux. So, uh, you know, uh, I was having trouble deciding what my third ball was going to be. I thought maybe I could just go off of using the Hustle Wrap and the Nuclear Cell, but then I thought, no, what if both of these things don't work? I want to have that other ball ready just in case. I don't know. After looking at everything, something told me, like, you know what? Get the Flux. I just had this good feeling about it that it would be it would be time to bring that ball out of the box and put it back in the bag for this week. So I decided, you know what, let's bring out the Flux, especially because it's been a while since I picked up that ball. So there you go. The Flux, the Hustle Wrap, and the Nuclear Cell is what we are going with for this week of League. So now that you guys know that, now we can get this thing started. So let's roll the clip. Okay, everybody, so here we go. We're starting on the right lane on lanes 5 and 6, and ball number one that I decided to start with is the Flux. After testing out everything in practice, the Flux was giving me the good hits. It was giving me the best look. So I decided to start with that. And that looked like kind of a bit of a high hit, but you know, they all fell down, and that's what matters the most in the end. So here we go on the left lane now, and as I mentioned, I added some changes to my approach, and I think now I'm going to try to point them out to you. I don't know if it's here that it's kind of noticeable, but we're going to see right now. Yeah, this is a good place to start. So I have been correcting the placement for my third and fourth step, if that makes any sense, because after last week of league, after looking over the footage, I realized my footwork is all over the place. Like my steps, they're not. I'm all over the place basically. So I've been working, particularly my third and fourth step, and I feel like that's kind of playing a part in why my consistency isn't necessarily all that great. So I've been working on keeping my third and fourth step more in place rather than out of place. So I'm actually going to slow this down so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. So, okay, so take a look. That's my second step right there. And here's the third step. So there you go. I'm working on trying to keep it a little more, like I said, in place. My third step previously used to be like way more out this way. I'm not sure if you can see my mouse pointer here, but yeah, it used to be way more out there. It's kind of noticeable. You can see like the space like in the steps as well. So yeah, I'm working on trying to keep it from not going too far out to the right. Instead, I'm keeping it more this way. And then because of that little issue that I had, my fourth step, which is the hop step, as they call it, would be a little more out of place. So yeah, I'm working on also trying to keep it going in that same direction that that this third step is going. As you can see, I still kind of got to work on it because I still keep it right there rather than going in that direction of which I am walking, because you guys know I walk to the left on my approach. But yeah, I'm working on that third and fourth step still. As you can see, I still kind of got to work on it a little bit, but kind of not really a good idea to try to use these changes in league, because it was definitely messing with me just a little bit. And another thing that I'm trying to change is the swing. I'm working on trying to keep the wrist, cupped so that I can keep my hand behind the ball, because Lord knows that I need to work on that too. As you can see, I'm kind of getting it, but then when the swing is going down, I kind of start to lose it, and then my hand ends up being behind the ball a little bit less than it should be. So really in the end, on the bottom part of the swing, on the release, my hand ends up behind the ball like a one-hander. So it doesn't end up, behind the ball like a two-hander would. And because of that, I don't get a lot of revs in the end. So another change, I'm not sure if you guys can see because it's kind of blurry, but right there, I changed out oh, these are the new shoes, by the way, that I recently found. Very hard to find because they don't make up anymore, but these are the SST6s. I believe they did start making these before they created the SST6 LZs that you guys always see me wear. I have the gold pair, the camo pair, the Green Monster series, which is the emerald green pair that you always see me wear, thanks to my friend Ivan. They're all custom pairs, but yeah, I recently found these. I've always wanted to have a pair, and now I finally do. I switched out the heel that came with the shoe and added this orange one here, which is an H1 sawtooth heel, and that one allows for maximum braking after I slide, because obviously I get into the slide pretty aggressively, I guess, because obviously us two-handers, we need to use more speed on our legs in our approach to generate that power, and more power means more speed. So in order to avoid feeling like I'm on ice skates, I put that H1 sawtooth heel on there, and yeah, so I guess those are all the changes. So yeah, see what I mean? Right there. See that? As the swing is going down, I lose it, and the wrist is not really cupped anymore. See what I mean? I end up not really letting it go like a two-hander should. I end up letting it go like a one-hander would with the thumb. So yeah, I was still working on trying to break it in, these new changes, and of course that these new shoes. So you're gonna notice a lot of that sloppiness on this video. So anyway, here we go now on the third frame already, back on the right. That was actually a lot better. And now we're 3 for 3. All right, frame number 4. And we leave the 10 pin. So yeah, that right there, sticking and hopping like that at the foul line, you're probably going to see quite a bit of that. All right, frame 5. Losing it again. And I end up splitting this time, so that was costly. All right, so one thing's for sure is I don't think I've made a split in this league. Until now. Alright, so I believe now we're on the 6th frame after continuing to stay clean. Keeping my clean sheet alive after that split. Oh, no messenger this time. And no problem picking up that 10 pin. But yeah, you know, I will admit that, you know, I didn't give myself enough time to get used to all these changes. For example, breaking in these new shoes with the new heel on the bottom, the thing with the changes to the swing, the changes to my 3rd and 4th step. I haven't given myself enough time and enough training to be able to, you know, break this stuff in. So yeah, it really was kind of a risky thing for me to take this to league. Because obviously, you know, you need to give yourself some time to really practice and to really get used to this, and I didn't do that, so kind of a little risky, but I still went with it anyway because I kept in mind this is just a fun league. It's not really a big old deal, but, you know, I treated it like it was. Alright, anyway, now I think we're now on the 7th. Trying to get back on the strike train. Oh, and the ball just whiffs by the 9 pin. Luckily it was enough. But I was about to leave a 9 pin. Let's all be honest there. Alright, frame number 8. After what happened, I kept that in mind. And the ball hung up on my middle finger a little too much, and as you can see, I lofted it there. Luckily, that little loft saved me from going possibly through the nose, because as you can see, you guys know, remember, lofting the ball delays the reaction of the ball a little bit, and I got a little lucky there. Alright, here we go again, back on the right. A little too far to the right of target, and as a result now I have a 4 to deal with. Alright, so here we go, picking up the 4. And I lose it, but luckily it didn't affect the fact that I spared it, so got lucky there. But I was a little worried that at some point I was probably going to stick a little too hard and fall flat on my face or something like that. Alright, I believe now we've made our way to the 10th frame, and another thing that I didn't realize until just now is that thanks to these little changes to my 3rd and 4th step, I'm moving through the approach a lot quicker now, and my swing has also gotten a little quicker as a result with it too, and it's helped with my timing a lot more, definitely. And as a result, my my ball speed has increased a little bit too. So I can officially say now, thanks to these changes, I'm officially a part of the 16 mile per hour club now. So yay for that. I've been trying so hard to get out of 15.8 miles per hour, because that's been my average speed, 15.8, and now thanks to this I've increased to at least 16.1. So and then almost I don't even know how quickly my spare ball speed is. I think it's like 17, so that's really awesome. So yeah, it's kind of nice to see that increase, but yeah, I got robbed there. Or at least I feel I got robbed. I mean, did you guys see the way the ball entered the pocket? Look at this. It continued. It didn't deflect. See that? You know that kind of shot where you hit the pocket and the 6 goes into the gutter. And kind of like the top part of the 6 pin, when it's in the gutter, it taps lightly the 6 and it just falls over. That's what happened here. And you can tell because look at the way the 10 pin was moving. And oh, we'll try to watch the 6 too. Let's actually get back into it here. Watch the 6 and watch the 10. See what I mean? It was gonna hit it. It was wobbling. So yeah, unfortunately, I just 10 pin decided not today. Even though the 6 clearly touched it. And the 9 pin disappeared too, so you know it wasn't, the ball didn't enter the pocket at too much angle. So yeah, I guess it was just unlucky in the end. But yeah, I lost it at the bottom, and as a result I missed it, and we end our game with a 224 for game 1. Alright, now here we go with game number 2, and I do believe I might have made a change here. After what happened with the flux in game 1 on the left lane, I realized maybe let's try to make a change, because I did try making adjustments throughout game 1 with the flux and nothing was working, so I decided let's bring out that nuclear cell. I struck, but I kept in mind, like, okay, that was a very light hit, so I'm going to move to the right a little bit with this nuclear cell, which is kind of unusual to me because I always am standing on like 22.5 with this ball. So to see that, I realized, okay, something's a little different here, but I'm going to make the move anyway, regardless of what just happened. Yeah, I didn't realize until after this night was over that I realized, oh yeah, my ball speed increased, because when I was standing on 22.5 with the nuclear cell like I usually do, it's routine for me, I was going at 15.8 miles per hour, but now I'm at 16.1, so I have to move to the right. So I didn't realize that until this night was over, but there we go. We're still continuing with the flux on the right lane because I was obviously striking on the right lane with the flux. I didn't have any problems, so I stuck with it. But unfortunately, I made a little bit of a bad shot there, and I end up with the baby split, which I hate so much because I'm not very good at covering it. But I got it that time. Okay, left lane with the nuclear cell. I decided to move from 22.5 to like 21.5. See if that would work. And that didn't really work because my release on that one, I didn't really, get my hand around it too well. And the rev rate, you could see the way the ball was spinning down the lane. It wasn't really a whole lot that I put on it. And you could see the way the ball hit the pins too. It deflected, so clearly I didn't put enough on it. And my trouble with trying to make that 10 pin on this Night of League continues as I miss another 10. Alright, here we go back on the right lane now. After that unnecessary open frame that I left. That's a good ice. That one was really nice. Good form, finally. Alright, left lane now. That's the one. That's what I was looking for. So for that, I believe I was still on 21.5, but I put a little bit more hand on the at the release to make sure that ball really gets back. So I was like, okay, got my game plan. I'm good to go. All right, here we go again, back on the right. And unfortunately, I entered the pocket a little too high, so I realized, okay, now it's time just to move a half board after that. Alright, so time to spare me a 2-pin. Hopped on it, but didn't matter as I got it. Alright, so after that 9 spare on the right, we go to the left. Form was a little off, but nice little messenger for a strike. Lord knows it's been a while since I've seen one of those. Alright, so after leaving the 4-pin on the right lane the last time I was on here, good form at the foul line, and this time instead of the 4, it's the 7. So here we go with the 7-pin spare. No problem. And I think now it's becoming clear that I'm kind of getting used to the shoes now, getting used to the heel after breaking it in throughout the week. So I think the form should be better from this point onward. I can't even remember when I started getting the hang of all of this. Alright, back on the left lane after that really sick messenger. quick through the approach, a little bit of an increase in the ball speed. 6 takes out the 10, and now I kept that in mind right there. That gave me the confirmation, okay, let's move like a half board to the right, because I got lucky, let's be honest. I mean, the messenger took out the 10 pin, and then here we have the 6 taking out the 10 pin. So yeah, 2 10 pins in a row, that would have been, luckily something came to knock it over, but I kept that in mind, so I knew I needed to make a move here. Okay, so after what happened with the flux on this right lane, clearly it was starting to not work. I know I probably could have made adjustments, but I didn't want to take the chances, and I felt like it would be a better idea to try the nuclear cell on this lane, and that turned out to be an even bigger mistake. Because I stood in the wrong spot, and I ended up leaving a split as a result, putting my chances at getting a 200 game in serious, serious danger. So I would have to make this in order for that to be able to get to 200, but not today, and as a result, we go completely backwards, I guess we could say, as I finish this game with the 185. Alright guys, so here we go with the final game of the night, and after what happened on the right lane with that nuclear cell in the 10th, I didn't go back to the flux. I decided to stick with the nuclear cell because I instantly realized, okay, it wasn't like a big mistake. I could take that and turn it into something here. I knew, obviously, okay, the ball reacts a little more down lane on the right lane compared to the left, so I made a move. I stood on 22.5, and I went for it. And it worked. So I thought, okay, we're good here. I turned that, what I thought was a big mistake, and made it into something that could work in the end. Alright, so here we go on the left lane now. And we hit the pocket high. So it became kind of clear that we needed to adjust, but not too much. Back on the right we go. Falling off at the foul line. Luckily, it all worked out in the end. Alright, so back on the left now, after making an adjustment after what happened here on the left lane, leaving the 4 pin. It looked good, but it reacted a little too much, and I was lucky not to leave a split there. I saw that 4 pin, but we just leave the 9, which is unfortunate. So at this point, I actually should have made a ball change, but I didn't do that because I was dumb enough to think that I could continue on using this nuclear cell, but I guess I went through one of those things where I'm like just trying so hard to make it work when clearly I could have just changed to another ball because, yeah, this ended up being a mistake, and you're going to see why. So here we go on the right, and that thing that I said about how trying to make it work with this nuclear cell and why it was a mistake, you're going to see right there, and I get another split. So I want you guys to take a look at how unlucky this is. Watch the 3 pin. Watch what it does. It came out of it hit the back curtain thingy or whatever that is, and it came back and was gonna take out that 7, but it landed right next to it and decided, nope, not today. Okay, so after what happened on the left lane with the sparing the 9 pin and then of course the split on this right lane, that's when I realized, okay, let's try something weaker. Let's go to the hustle wrap finally, after not having picked it up at all, and let's see what happens. And I stood in the exact same spot that I did with the nuclear cell on this left lane. That left me the 9 pin. And it worked. And I was not happy. I was thinking to myself, why didn't you just switch to this ball the entire time? Again, I went through one of those moments where I felt like I could just make this ball, this nuclear cell, strike. But, you know, I kept trying to make moves and it wasn't working, but I kept trying to work with it, and I should have switched. So another one of those things where I made bad decisions and it's costing me dearly. So yeah, this is kind of a repeat of what happened that one week where I was using the Omega Crux and I was like dominating, and then I made the stupid decision of switching to the dark code when clearly I didn't need to. This is basically like a repeat performance of that. The real big difference here, though, is that I wasn't dominating with a certain ball and then made an unnecessary switch. This was me just struggling to find something to get to the pocket and to get a really good hit. And I just wasn't fully awake to the fact that this nuclear cell wasn't working until the split and the 9-pin spare, of course. But yeah, you see that? Strike and strike, that became like confirmation to me, like, wow, you really messed up. You should have switched this ball a long time ago. Well, yeah, take a look at this. Watch the right lane right here. Watch what this guy leaves. This is a rare thing that appears. Would you look at that? Some people call it the sour apple. Is that what this is called? I don't know. I've heard another name for this. I can't remember what it is, but I've heard that this is called the sour apple. I don't know that to be true. Somebody help me out here. And if you're curious to see, does he make it? Does he not? Of course he doesn't. I don't know what that attempt was. I mean, I've heard that you should take your strike ball and try to like hit the I don't know if that was the 5-pin. I think it was. Yeah, I've heard that you should take your strike ball and try to curve the ball and try to hit the 5-pin like on the left or the right, whether you're a lefty or a righty, and try to get it to hit into, let's say I'm a righty, okay, and I'm trying to make it that way. So I'm trying to curve the ball to get the ball to hit the left side of that 5-pin, so it'll knock into the 10, and then the ball will curve into the 7. That's what I hear that's how I hear you're supposed to try to make it. This guy clearly didn't do that. He should have hit on the right side of that head pin, of that 5-pin, so it would knock into the 7, and then the ball would curve into the 10. But that was just a horrible attempt. All right, hustle wrap now, left lane. I don't even know what frame I'm on. And the strikes continue, further adding to my anger. Like, I was beating myself up. After every strike, I was beating myself up. That, like, you should have switched to this ball. You idiot. All right, back on the right now. And I wasn't the only one struggling in Game 3, so I knew there was something that was going on. I don't know if everybody was getting fatigued or something was up with the lanes and everybody was getting unlucky hits, but yeah, I wasn't the only one who was struggling in Game 3. I mean, everybody was going hard in Game 1 and 2, and then came Game 3, and a lot of people were getting unlucky hits. So one of the guys was even guttering quite a bit, and usually he doesn't, so that was kind of crazy to see. I'm not missing another 10-pin. No, sir, not today. Alright, we are officially on the 10th frame here, and I believe I have a chance to max out at 214. But I can't miss if I want to do that. Falling off at the foul line. Ball looked like it went a little high. Something went flying across. But I got it, and that's what matters. And that meant that my chance at 200 is officially in. So that made me a little bit less worried about the next couple shots. But obviously I wanted to strike out. Who doesn't, right? Alright, second shot. Kind of a little bit of a delay in the swing there, but it went high and left the 2-8, further leaving me frustrated. And I haven't seen the 2-8 in quite a while. I don't know when's the last time I picked up a 2-8, but nice to know that I still got it. But no 214 for me. Instead, it's 204. So that is the end of that. And look at Gary. Look, man, that ball speed, that ball roll is incredible. But anyway, that's the end of that. And really disappointing in comparison to last week, where I went like 694, and the week before that 692. So that's totally deflating to go down to a 613 series. No excuses. No excuses. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, so now that we're done with that, We now take a look at the league summary here, and we start with game one. I got a 224. Game two, going completely off and getting a 185 after that unfortunate split in the 10th. And then game three was no better as I got 204. And that brings my my series total for week 15 to 613, way off of what happened last week, 694, of course. The series required to raise my average is 674. Obviously, I was far off from that, and I knew for a fact that my average was going to go down, but I didn't know how much. But anyway, my pin total now after week 15 is 9,659. And I did the math, although this isn't necessary, but I realized I'm close to 10,000 pins. And in order for me to reach 10,000, I believe I just need at least a score of or a series of 300 and something. Let me actually take a look here. So 10,000, we minus that by that pin total that we see right now. And it's actually, yeah, I need a 341 series if I want to pass 10,000 pins. Obviously, that is going to be easy sauce. So that's cool. I managed to get to 10,000 pins in 16 weeks. We can already call it. I mean, I know they say don't celebrate too early, if you know what I mean, but 341 series, come on, we can do that. But anyway, yeah, we now have officially played 45 games, and my current average now, because of that poor performance, or at least what I consider to be poor, is my average now is 214.64. So we're back in 214 again. It's official now. I think that is my number, 214. So, yeah, compared to last week's average, it was 215, so I went down a point. And my highest game and highest series continue to be the same. They remain unchanged. I can't even remember when that week was when I got 268 and when I got that 697. But that's the summary for this week of League, and we are coming close to the end. So, yeah, all we have now that this night is over is week number 16, and this series is done. So, some of my goals were met, some of them weren't. The goals that weren't met were try to get to 220 average, try to get a 300 game, and try to get a 700 series. I believe that was, if there's something else that I probably don't remember it, but those were the goals that I could not achieve. However, I do have that one final week to be able to at least try to achieve a perfect game and to try to get a 700 series. Hopefully I can kill two birds with one stone, but I don't know. I'd have to really focus and give it my all. But I don't know. You never know what can happen. So anyway, that is the end of that. Again, I'll be putting up a community post about... I will be signing up for the Summer League, which will be beginning on the 27th of May. And I will be putting up a community post for you guys to vote on whether you guys want to see that, and we'll start a new series of that. It'll be the exact same thing. Nothing's going to remain nothing's going to change, so it'll be the exact same. So I'll put a post for that, and let me know if you guys want to see that. So that is the end of week 15. I'm Frank the Tank, and I will see you guys for the final week of League.